and welcome to the Sober Connection with me, Abi King. So this is episode 6 today, and as always, we have every other week we have a guest interview. And my guest today is a full-time BBC radio presenter. She is the co-host of the very, very popular Over the Influence podcast, and that is something that I really relied on when I first started out becoming sober. She's also set up the Over the Influence online sober community, which supports thousands of people all around the UK and beyond. She is one of the biggest advocates for a sober life. She sings very loudly about it, and she's actually just published a book which is called The Life-Changing Magic of Quitting Alcohol, and that is just incredible. So I am delighted to welcome Sharon Hartley to my podcast. Hey, Sharon.
Thank you so much. What an intro. And I'm like, is that really me? Have I done all these things? It's ace, and I'm just chuffed to bits that you've invited me to be on your podcast, Abby. So thank you. It's incredible to see what you're doing.
No, thank you. No, thank you for joining. I said before I had a dream guest list of people to invite, and you were top of the list because honestly, when I was first starting to get sober, I used to go on my walks every day, and your Over the Influence podcast with Freddie and background Ben as he was then. I mean, he wasn't even the co-host at that point, so he was still drinking, I think. And then, I just used to listen to you guys, and I'd be walking through my little rural New Zealand town where I used to live, and just guffawing with laughter as like you just made it so much fun. You just made it seem like it was the right thing, the right path that I was
Amazing.
on. So I'll always be so grateful to you for that sort of online support that I had through your podcasts. So how are you doing? You good?
You know what? Never better. I mean, for once, chatting to you now, and this is unusual, the sun is shining in the UK.
Oh, very good.
We've had a mini heat wave, so we're grabbing onto that.
Yeah.
My shelves are empty, so I'm on with like a house clearance thing at the moment. This is actually the podcast recording room that I'm in. And when you listen to the pod, and I refer to it as like the skip that I broadcast from, it's a little bit echoey and everything's clear. So I'm just on with a load of jobs at the moment. Work is good, the family's good. And this year, September, I'll be coming up to 7 years alcohol free, which is bonkers, like absolutely bonkers. But you know what? It's still brilliant. It's still really good. That's not to say life doesn't get in the way, as you know. We've got to still go through whatever is happening in life, but doing it alcohol free, it's a gift. Everything's really good. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. 7 years, that's incredible, isn't it? Well, I think when you look back, I mean, I'm 3 years now. When I hit that 1,000-day milestone, it was just never ever thought that I'd get there. It was
you don't though, do you? I think in the really early days as well, and that's, I mean, maybe we'll go on to talk about this, the importance of connection, the importance of community. When you start out doing this and you think, I can't do a month, I can't do a week, I can't do a day, wherever you might be on the drinking scale, to see people further ahead hitting 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1,000 days, and then you get into years. I just think it's so amazing when you've got, be it sober social media, online communities, podcasts, hearing stories from other people that have been where you are and saying, hands up, it's rubbish at first, it's really difficult, but stick with it. And, it's corny and it's the name of my book. It's because it's true. It's life-changing, completely and utterly life-changing. So 3 years, Abby, that's amazing. That's so good.
Yeah. And I'm proud of it. I don't know whether I'm more proud because of what I've gone through in the last 3 years, or whether I'm just so proud that I didn't let alcohol. It would have been so easy to go back to drinking when I left my marriage, and I turned up in a community where I knew nobody, and just all of those factors and everything that happened after I left my husband. It got really weird for a little bit there, and it would have been so easy to just go, okay, I'm going to go to the bottle shop, and I'm so proud that I didn't. And I just I know now that I can get through anything that life throws at me. Like I know I can do it sober. So it's but so anyway, back to you. We don't need to talk about my issues.
Talk about whatever you want.
Obviously 7 years sober. So what did your life look like 8 years ago? And at what point, like, how long did it take you from deciding, like, hang on a minute, this is not this is not okay. How long did it take for you to have
Oh
that
God.
thought to getting to that final drink?
Years. Like years. So I can do this the long way, or I'll try and give you like the shorter version, otherwise we'll be recording for about 7 hours. Um yeah, so I've always been, or I always was, like a party animal. And alcohol was always at the centre of everything I did. So, started dabbling with booze in late teens, as loads of people did with your mates and stuff like that. Went to uni, used to like, party and go to the students' union, really cheap alcohol, stuff like that. And that was all fine, brilliant. 30s, I think, is when it changed for me, where you're going out less, got a young family, working, started drinking at home more, but would still ramp it up at the weekends. And I think somewhere in my late 30s, I thought, drinking a lot. I'm drinking a lot. I could see like a marked change. And so then I'd consider doing a dry January or a sober October. Never once did I succeed in a dry January, like ever. But I used to feel really quite good when I used to manage. Did about half a dozen probably sober Octobers, but I was always clinging on for dear life, because I was never ever doing any more than 30 days. Or was it 31 in October? Don't know how long the month is.
Yeah.
And I'd be clinging on for dear life, waiting like till midnight, or if I'd fallen asleep, it'd be the next day, and then I would just completely undo any good work that I'd started to do during that month. But I think what happened was, so when I stopped drinking, although at the time, and it's so important to say this, I had no intention of stopping drinking, but I knew I needed to take an extended break to sort of say to people, oh, I've not got a problem, I'm fine, I'm in control, it's, there's no issue. There was an issue, there was certainly a dependency, and it became really habitual. And in my mid-40s, I noticed that the amounts I was drinking was increasing. And then at weekends, again, it would always ramp up, and I'd always be looking for an excuse to drink. Oh, God, the kids weren't picking up or flipping out. That was an inconvenience. And I'd be setting my watch by when I could drink and who I could drink with and where I could drink and what if the drink ran out. But I didn't have this, like, clarity until after I'd removed the alcohol. So I went for a longer break. I was 44 years old. It was just before my 45th birthday, actually. So slap bang in the middle of my 40s. I thought, I'm going to go for 90, 100 days. And it was horrific. Like, at first, I thought, this is awful. This is boring. This is dull. My life's going to be crap. I'll never go out again. I'll never enjoy anything again. But I was so determined to do more than 30 days. I just knew I was going to stick with it. And so at that point, my drinking, it had ramped up. I was a daily drinker at that point. I always feel it's really not helpful to say how much I drank or what I drank, because I would hate for somebody to be listening. I'm not as bad as her. I don't drink quite as much as that. I'm fine. It's not about that. It's how it makes you feel and the impact it has on, your life and your mental health.
Yeah.
So I took that extended break, and then, I don't know, 60, 70 days in, I was thinking, oh, shit, this is working. I'm quite enjoying it. Oh man, who knew? Oh, because I didn't really want it to be like that, because I had every intention of going back to being maybe a more moderate drinker, or drinking like a grown-up and being able to control it and not, blacking out and all the rest of it. So I thought, I'm going to go for the year. I'll do a year and then I'll reassess. Well, that was nearly 7 years ago, because there is not one element of my life, be it personal, be it professional, or whatever, that has not been impacted positively since I made that choice. And everything, and I mean everything, from the podcast to the online community to my partnership and friendship with Ben, who I do OTI with and the podcast with, and the premium podcast, the book, my current job now, everything I do. It's like, it's incredible. It's just absolutely incredible. And it's all come about, excuse me for saying this, really organically. It's like all just happened. I had no great sober plan, because my plan was to go back to drinking.
Yeah.
And so all this stuff has just happened over the last 7 years, and it has just been amazing, like amazing. And I don't think any of it, I know none of it would have happened had I carried on drinking it at the rate I was. So I'm just really grateful that I gave myself a chance and went, take that break, see how it goes. Yeah, it's going to be rubbish, it's going to be boring, it's going to be miserable. I didn't know what sobriety was till I started living it, and now you couldn't pay me to drink.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, it's definitely life changing. Yeah, I've left an unhappy marriage. I've moved towns. I've changed careers. I've started doing this.
Yeah.
I've got such a beautiful relationship with my kids now. I haven't got heaps of money, but I'm not pouring it down the drain, or and it's just I can actually afford to do cool things with the kids, and
Yeah.
we have experiences. We go to concerts and stuff like that, and have weekends away, and it's just yeah, it's been amazing. Whereas before, I almost used to, I don't know, like it actually probably was sometimes it was more of a priority than my own kids, because
Yeah.
they'd come
It's
in and I'd be
amazing,
like,
isn't
oh,
it? It's
yeah, it's
amazing
crazy.
where
Like
you
we'd be
place
having
it.
drinks with friends, and the
Yeah.
kids would come out and they'd be like, Mum, and you'd be like, oh, we're having adult time now, and just trying to dismiss the kids while you're pouring another drink down your throat. It's crazy the way it actually makes you think that it's the be all and end all, and like even your kids take a back seat.
Yeah, it's mad.
It's awful stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah. So your book, let's talk about your book, because that's actually pretty cool, eh?
I'm that sad. I keep a copy like next to me wherever I go.
Of
Not
course you
wherever I go.
do.
I'm in the office. I've always got one here because we're always recording in here. So I've always got a copy to hand just so I can go, look, I wrote a book.
So cool.
It's bonkers. And the title, The Life-Changing Magic of Quitting Alcohol, on the back it says stop drinking and start living. It just sums it up for me. It is life-changing. What I wanted with the book, and again, another really long story, I'll keep it short. I had no intention of writing a book. I didn't all of a sudden stop drinking a thing. I'm going to be a sober author. I want my book on the Quit Lit shelves in all good bookstores. I was approached by a publisher and asked if I would consider writing a book. Anyway, long story short, I said yes. Ended up working with a different publisher, actually, Aurum, who were just absolutely incredible. So great to work with. And what we wanted the book to be was like a handhold from a best mate who gets it, who's been there, who knows it's going to be difficult through early sobriety. So those first 100 days where you're like, I can't do this. I've got a wedding. I can't do this. We're on a girls' weekend next weekend. But what do I say to my mates? How do I get out of this? And oh my. So all these little, I say little, a lot of the times, they're big sort of obstacles that you come up against. I just wanted a book, and I want somebody to pick up and read it and go, you know what, I'm just going to try this. And I really wanted people to know that if you stick with it longer than 30 days, a dry month is fantastic, of course it is. It's where you start to see the benefits, don't you? The improved
Yeah.
sleep, and for me, less bloated in the face and all the rest of it, less red. But it's only after the 30 days, towards 60 and then 90 and then into triple figures, that I think you really do start to understand what sobriety is and actually really, really start to live life in glorious technicolor. I describe it as being like having a cloud lifted. And you don't get to that point straight away. It takes patience and it takes time because, for the first couple of months, I was just miserable. Like, just miserable. This is awful. This is awful. But when those clouds did start to lift, I was like, oh man, this is good. This is
Yeah.
good. So when I talk about the life-changing magic, I truly believe that it's in anybody. It's all there. It's all there. But if you're drinking and it's impacting your life and it's making you feel like shit and you want to make a change, just know that you can do it. And that there's like this whole other world on the other side of wine or vodka or whatever it is, your choice of drink. But you've just got to give yourself a shot. So yeah, that's basically what the book's about.
Yeah, that's so cool. I think it's always that first. I think as well, like it's really hard to get, even as determined as you are, like it can be so hard to get to that 100 days. So
Yeah.
you might it's like that sort of, there's a YouTube there's a video, I'm not sure what it is, but there's a guy kind of going up the steps and then he falls off and he lands on a trampoline and he bounces back up and he's a few steps below and then he goes up, and and it's that constant 2 steps forward, 4 steps back
Yeah.
sometimes, and then it's just, you're just never quite getting there, eh? And then I know when I got to 100 days, it was the most I'd ever done was 89. I didn't even get to 90. I just I don't know why. Like one more day would have got to 90. It would
It's a
have been
good number, 90 as well.
I know. But yeah, I was on a plane to Peru and they had cocktails at the airport and me and my friend were just like, oh, okay, so I'd done
Yeah.
89 days, but that was the most I'd ever done, and it's all quite sort of small bits. I've done a week here, and then you go back to day one, and then you 5 days, and then back to day one, and every other day sometimes is day one, and it just feels so unattainable, eh? Like
Yeah.
it's like, when am I ever going to get there? And you get frustrated, and you start to hate yourself even more because you're like, why can't I just do this? Look at all these people that are 2, 3, 4, 7 years down the track, and why can't I get there? What's wrong with me? And
But I think a
it's
lot of
not
people
about
think,
anything being wrong with you. It's just
no, it's not. And the people that you're looking at, again, and it comes back, to community and connection, is that everybody's had a day one. And a lot of people have had a million day ones. It just, it simply just doesn't happen overnight. You asked me what my life was like 8 years ago. I think the seed had been planted like, I don't know, 5, 7 years prior, but couldn't be bothered. I'm not going to. And again, I'd never planned on stopping drinking. That wasn't part of the plan. But I think the longer you go and the more of a chance that you give yourself, and all right, if you trip up, you go again, you go again, you go again. There will be a day when it clicks and you will get there. And that could well be your last day one. I think as well, Abby, it's really important to say, you don't have to take a break from booze and go instantly, I'm never drinking again. That is me done forever. Just see how you go. Set yourself the target of 100 days. And if it's working, if you're enjoying it, go a bit longer, go to 6 months, and then, okay. Well, if you do the year, you've tried everything once without alcohol, Christmas, New Year, birthday, weddings, whatever it is. And if you're still enjoying it and you're enjoying the changes in life and the way you feel and relationships and opportunities, keep going. It took me about, I don't know, maybe 2-3 years to actually say, I'm done. I'm done, and I think some people still look at me, oh, isn't it a shame? Isn't it a shame, Shaz, I can't drink? And I'm like, you don't get it. Like, I'm choosing not to drink. If I wanted to drink, I could. I don't want to anymore. I think that's a really powerful position to be in as well, because it's your choice.
Yeah, but you've taken your control back.
Yeah, massively so. Yeah.
Yeah. If you so if you could give yourself, like, obviously you had that seed that was planted and then you were just kind of like, you just kind of brush it to one side. If you could go back and give yourself a piece of advice when you were still drinking, what do you think that would be?
Oh my God. Oh no, I don't know. It would vary, I think, depending on the age. I think I would say to myself that whatever you do, you're going to be good enough. Like, you're going to be enough. Because the things that have happened since I stopped drinking, for example, the podcast, which is, again, we started off with like 2 listeners, like my mum and Ben's dad, and we're now like, I don't know, 1.7 million. We're heading towards 2 million downloads, and it's like, how did that happen? We just started banging on about sobriety,
Yeah,
But
amazing.
we're good enough because we're good enough. Simple as that. It's okay to accept that. It would be that you don't need the alcohol. You don't need it. It's enough to be who you are. And like, I had a conversation with my boss at work the other day. So my day job, I'm a radio presenter, and it's the dream job. Like, I can't even tell you. I'm tragic. I skip into work every day going, oh my God, I'm getting paid for this. It's the best job in the world. I get to talk to people every single day of my life. It's wonderful. And we were talking a little bit sort of outside work, and I was just saying to him, look, I love this, and they do, And I said, it's just phenomenal that I've got to a position now at the age of 51 where I can just be me. Like, I don't need the alcohol to make me extrovert. I don't need a livener before I do something to boost the confidence. It's enough just to be who you are. And it's like, you're employing me to do this job because I'm me. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always come back to that. It's so cheesy, this. The Greatest Showman, that incredible song by... Is she called Keela Settle? I can't think of her name. I always get it wrong.
I feel like you always talk about this song on the podcast.
This is me. This is me. Yeah, the bearded woman with the big knockers. Exactly this. This is me. But that's it. And I think it's a process and it takes time and it's learning who you are and what makes you tick. I've gone completely off on a tangent here about your question, by the way.
No, it's fine.
And it's learning who you are without the alcohol. So let me try and wrap this up. What advice would I give to myself? Probably go back to my 44-year-old self, not the 30s and the 20s. Just before I stopped drinking, and I'd say that it's going to be all right. It's going to be absolutely fine. In fact, it's going to be 1,000 times better than you could actually imagine. Just give yourself a chance. You don't actually need the alcohol.
Yeah. What are the surprising things that you found about yourself? Because for me, you're pretty extrovert, and like your job, obviously you're sort of presenting on BBC Radio, and that's amazing. And I think I remember when you first got that, because you started off as just doing one show, didn't you, or part-time?
Yeah, I was just doing cover. They said, do you fancy covering this show? I'm like, no, I can't, I'm rubbish. It'll be the worst thing, and I can't. And I thought, well, what's the worst that can happen? Like, literally, just give it a shot. And
no, that's why I'm doing this. I was exactly the same. I've been dwelling on doing this for a good 6 months. I was like, no, I can't. And my perfectionist brain was like, you can't do it, you'll be terrible. And then I was kind of like, well, what if I am? It doesn't matter, like, at least I'm out there giving it a go. So
before we chatted, I was doom scrolling on social media, and there was some positive quote page or something like that I'd stumbled across, my usual gubbins on Instagram. And it was talking about this, about going for things and giving yourself a chance and taking opportunities. And it says you can't learn to drive in a parked car. And I was like, oh my God, I really like this. And it's right, isn't it? You're going to go nowhere. So you've got to give it a shot and see just what might happen. And here you are with the podcast.
Yeah. But going back to my question, so for me, I've found that since I stopped drinking, so I thought that I was this massive social butterfly, and I was very loud and obnoxious, and just
same.
Looking back now, I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I did some of the stuff that I did, because it's not who I was. Like I've realized, and I don't think I realized this before because I was drinking from the age of 14, so I don't know what my personality was like before, but ever since I've been drinking, I've been loud and I've wanted to be around people, and now I'm very much not like that. Like I have to sort of hide it. I have to hide in a dark room when I've been sort of overstimulated, and I just kind of like, I just need some time out. And that was really surprising to me, because I didn't expect that to be a personality trait of mine. But what have you discovered about yourself that's been kind of like, I never expected that, or I didn't think I'd like that, or just kind of
exactly the same. I mean, I used to think I was like a really out there extrovert, life and soul of the party, middle of the dance floor, first one to arrive, last one to leave, first one to fall asleep, in the coat somewhere, making a show of myself as per. And I'm extrovert, I'm loud, I'm out there, let's party on, and all the rest of it. And yet I think there are elements to my character that are still somewhat extrovert to a point. But my job requires me to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I suppose confident in broadcasting, I think you've got to have an element of confidence to be able to do that. But on the flip side, what I've really learned is that I really like staying at home. I like to do things with the family. I love an early night. What time is it now? No, it's a bit early. It's 6:20. That's ridiculously early in the UK. I do like to be in bed by like 9 o'clock. And if, the family suggests going out for something to eat at weekend, I go, can we go at tea time? Which for me is like 4, 5 o'clock, home for 7, pyjamas on, bit of telly, having a brew, getting to bed, that sort of thing. So I'm certainly not the extrovert that I thought I was. And I think one of the best things ever, and I can still remember when it happened, was laughing, right? Stick with me on this. Laughing sober with the family. I don't know what the kids had done, something that just tipped me over the edge, and I was crying, laughing. Yeah. And all of a sudden I was like, I'm having a laugh. I'm not drunk. This is amazing. Because I always associated fun and laughter and the time of my life, the best night of my life, with alcohol. Well, half the time I couldn't remember it anyway. And some of the best times I've had in sobriety have been with my family, have been with my closest friends, where I have been holding my belly, laughing, and it's genuine and it's pure and it's just wonderful, and it's so much to do with the people that you are with,
Yeah.
and not the substance in your glass.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best things. And it was like a penny drop. I thought, you can still laugh when you're sober. I'm sticking with this.
Yeah.
And a million other things, Abby, as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that too. That belly laughter, and then you're just kind of like, oh, and you sort of stop and you go, this is what real happiness feels like.
Yeah.
It's not muted in any way. It's not, it's not fake. It's not that fake guffawing laughter that just, that cackle that you used to do when you were drunk. It's me and the girls. So the girls are down at there. So I'm 2 hours away from their dad, and so they're down at school here with me, and then they go to him at the weekends, so every other weekend, and we have dinner every night together. So I've got 3 teenage girls, 14 to 17.
Oof.
And it could have gone, it could have gone one way, but I'm so lucky, like it went the other, and we're just really, really close. And we have dinner together every night. We sit around the table, and it's just my absolute favorite. I mean, it might only be 20-25 minutes of the day, but it's my favorite because we start talking about how our day was, and then the middle one and the older one, they start roasting each other, and then the younger one just sort of sits there quite quietly, but she's told me it's her favorite thing. They just start roasting each other, and then it just all goes.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And it's brilliant. I mean, it's so beautiful, and it's such a 20 minutes of my day, and it's just the most special time. So
And why would you trade any of that, your relationship with your family and your children? I think about my kids. Eldest is he's 24, our daughter's 22, and the youngest has just turned 17.
Yeah.
And in particular, the relationship with my daughter now is just, again, you couldn't pay me to trade it. I just simply would never ever go there again. And it's little things like, when I started doing this, you don't expect your kids to give you a fanfare for not drinking. You're the bloody parent. It's what you're supposed to do is be there. But it's these little acknowledgements. I've still got this plant that I've managed to keep alive. I kill all plants. I am useless. And it's this orchid. And she bought it me when I was 1 year sober. So on the 3rd of September 2019, she gifted me this plant and just went, well done. And I was like, oh my God, I can't kill this thing ever. And it looks a bit decrepit, but it's still going, a bit like me. And it's things like that. And it's those little acknowledgements, and you just know you're completely and utterly on the right path. And, never, ever as a parent or a carer, underestimate the impact that your choices as a non-drinker are having on your family. I look at my kids now, and I'm not that parent that goes, don't drink, it's terrible, don't be like your mum. If you want to have a drink, that's fine. And equally, if you don't want to, I'm like, I'm your biggest cheerleader. Absolutely. And I can see the changes in them, their choices, and it's fantastic. Nothing but positive.
Yeah, my girls are the same. They my eldest is driving now, and so she's, little Miss Independent, and she goes to parties, and she's like, and I'll buy her she'll say, can you get me some drinks for this party? And I'm like, well, yeah, I can. I don't want to be that parent that goes like, oh, you mustn't drink, it's really bad for you, but I trust that she's going to make those. I mean, she's not getting wasted in a field at the age of 14. She's, I was doing that. She's nowhere near doing that. So I trust that it's just, a couple of drinks with friends, and go and get her a 6-pack, and then she comes home with 2 or 3 of them, and she's like, oh, didn't really feel like it. My mate, I was holding my friend's hair up while she was puking, and it's just not my cup of tea anymore. And it's that to me is, I mean, she's got up this morning, so it's what time is it? It's 5:20 in the morning on a Thursday. She's got school today. She got up before me this morning, and she's gone to the gym.
Amazing.
So she's at the gym at the moment. So, it just blows my mind. The only time I was ever up at 5 in the morning at her age was that I was still up from the night before.
Yeah.
So, but it's cool. I mean, that's the role model that you want to be, right? Like when Leah, my middle daughter, told me that she was scared of my voice when I drank at the age of 9, that was horrendous to me because I didn't want to be that parent. It was
Yeah.
like, shit, my kids know I drink too much. Like maybe it's something that I need to kind of try and sort out, and
Yeah.
I've done that, and they've seen me persevere, and they saw that 4 years that it took me to quit, of those every other day was a day one. And oh, mum's back to drinking again, and the disappointment in their faces when they'd come into the room and I'd be pouring myself a glass of wine. And I would never go back to
Yeah.
that. But they've seen me persevere, and the same as your daughter bringing you little presents at milestones. I got a card. They bought me. What did they buy me when my 3 years? I got a massive bunch of flowers from Zoe. I got a banoffee pie. They went out and bought me a banoffee pie,
Brilliant.
which I sat and scoffed on the couch and in the evening, but just it's just little things like that, and you
Yeah.
just know that they're always watching. They're
You know what
always
they
watching.
are, and actually, I think as a drinker, you think you've got it nailed. They're not noticing this, and yet they are. They're noticing the change in behaviour. They're noticing the tone in your voice. They're noticing the way you stink of wine. Of course, they're noticing it. But equally, when you stop and you're serious about this and you don't want to let anybody down, they notice every time. They notice it all, and they notice all the positives as well.
Yeah,
And it takes time, but it's so worth it as a
yeah,
parent, without a doubt.
yeah, definitely, definitely. What do you think? Oh, what was I going to say? So you were a bit of a binge drinker, right? So you drink sort of during the week, and then you'd sort of ramp it up at weekends. And
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
your perception of fun and connection with your, quite social drinker. And what's your perception of fun and connection now that you don't drink?
Oh my God. I love this question. Anything that doesn't involve alcohol. Like literally anything. Oh
You're
my
quite keen
word.
on hiking, right? You're a
Oh,
bit of a hiker these days.
yeah, but I've not hiked for ages. Like, I've literally not hiked. I feel, it's been months, it's been ages. But yeah, hiking in the outdoors, doing something with the kids, going to the cinema on my own. Um, middle of the day at a weekend, because I know I'm going to fall asleep. However, though, tomorrow I've treated myself right. So we did a story at work today about David Attenborough, absolute legend, and he's 99
99
this
on
week.
Thursday.
Oh man.
Oh, today. It's Thursday
Oh,
today
sure.
here
Yeah.
in New Zealand.
So for us tomorrow, as we
Yeah,
record, and he's got this new documentary out called Ocean, and I thought
yeah.
I need to see it. I need to see it. I need to see it. So I've booked myself a cinema ticket on my own tomorrow night, 7:30. I'll go in my little cappuccino, and I'll be like living my best life. And I think a little bit late for me, to be honest, Abby, to be going out to the cinema at 7:30. However, I really want to see it. Nice food, going out for meals where I'm actually enjoying the food, and I might treat myself to 2 courses, might have a pudding as well, might have a cake, because I'm not getting bloody aggy and agitated because the waitress hasn't come back and asked me if I want to top up on the wine. Do you want, wine, obsessed. And just having time to do whatever I want, just having all that time back, because I can remember in the early days, I couldn't believe that a weekend lasted so long. I thought, what do you do if you're not drinking? I just wasted so much time. I was either thinking about drinking, I was either drinking, recovering from drinking,
Mm,
by drinking again, and you're trapped. You're trapped in this just shitty cycle of alcohol. It's just so all consuming. And once
yeah.
that's removed, it's freedom, I think is the word. It's complete and utter freedom to do what you want. So, if one of the kids says to me, do you want to go on a bike ride? Yeah, can't really be asked, but yeah, go on then, we'll do that. Or do you want to go to the cinema? Or I don't know, anything but drinking these days, and I love it. And I love the fact that it's given me the opportunity to make new friends in sobriety with a load of boring sobers, least boring people on the planet. Some of my bestest friends in the world. My God, they've had some of their issues that they really, really have. But they've overcome it, and they're living life, and it's incredible. And it's just, it's opened up a whole new world of opportunity and fun.
Yeah, that's good.
Who'd have thought it?
Yay for sobriety.
Yay! It's sobriety, brilliant.
With that, obviously we've all been through the do we call it the journey?
Yeah, we can call it the journey.
The journey. But I feel like people that have been through it, it kind of creates I don't know, it makes us sort of that resilience, and it is kind of like we're a different breed of people because we've been through addiction and we've been in that really really dark space where we couldn't see a way out, and then we've seen that light, really really tiny light at the end of the tunnel, and we've kept going for it, and it's just taken us however long it's taken us, but we've all been through that and we've got out on the other side. And I just think it really changes us as people to have gone through something like that. And then there's kind of this almost this we're kind of connected because we have all been through that, and it's just there's that kind of kindred spirit because we've been there, we know what it's like, and we've come out the other side. And it's it's a beautiful thing, I think.
It is. And I think as well that's in many ways why the podcast was born, and then the community, again, no great plan, it all happened really organically. But the way I felt in sobriety, I thought, oh my God, the amount of people that are trapped, that feel like shit. I get a lot of women messaging me, in midlife, stuck on that, I call it the hangover hamster wheel of hell. How do I do it? What do I do? Oh my God, I'm just, I'm a bottle of wine a night. This is my normal. And I just wanted to let people know that, oh my God, there's another way. Like, you're not going to believe it. I know you're not, because I didn't. I absolutely didn't. And if I had a crystal ball that you could give to every person who was sober curious and thinking, what's it going to be like? There you go. That's what it's going to be like, because it's guaranteed to be a damn sight better than it is now if alcohol is causing you problems in, any way, shape or form. And that's why it all started, to let people know that there is another way. And when we have people, be it guests on the podcast or people that come into the community that are nervous and they're apprehensive and they've been trapped on this shitty merry-go-round for many, many years. It's no coincidence that a lot of people join us in the 40s, 50s, 60s. We've had a couple of people in the 70s as well. And then they start, and then they connect with somebody else. All right, do you fancy going for a coffee in Oxford? I'm near you. And then you've got a sober friend. Oh, and then we've got an OTI event. We're going paddling this weekend, paddleboarding and kayaking, and we've got some mountains on. I want to come to that, but I'm nervous. Get involved. What's the worst that could happen? You might bloody enjoy yourself. You might be knackered at the end of it, but you might just make some new mates along the way. And then you see people taking these baby steps, and then they start connecting, and then they start talking, and then they go, oh man alive, I'm not on my own. I'm not on my own. I don't need to be ashamed. I don't need to feel like crap. There are other people just like me. And then fast forward down the line, we have people that have now become Zoom hosts within Over the Influence, who started on that day one, like, I can't do this. It's going to be terrible. And it's no joke. And no, I'm not exaggerating when I say we witness people's lives change. That's why I call it the life-changing magic, before our eyes. And it's not easy. It is a journey, and it's a bloody process, and it can be full of blood, sweat and tears. But when you finally start to crack it and you see those chinks of light and things start to change, oh my God, it's absolutely wonderful. It really is. So we need to just shout louder for the people at the back.
Yeah, I think I was set to become a Zoom host for the New Zealand area. Yeah. But that was back in 2022, and then life happened. And kind of got put on the back burner a bit. But I know that even just, I think the story of Ben is very cool. So with him being
can I tell you about Ben?
Yeah, well, when he was, so just for anybody that doesn't know, so he was known as Background Ben at the start of the Over the Influence podcast back in the day, and he was the producer, and so he would just produce the podcast for Shaz and Freddie, that was the old co-host, and then he just went, oh, you know what? I think I've listened to you guys harping on about this for a wee while. I think I'm going to give it a go just for 6 months or something. And, he's still going strong, isn't he?
Yeah,
and now he's
amazing.
The co-host with you, and Freddie's moved to New Zealand. And, it's,
what a change.
Such a cool, how that, you guys just talking about it and him just doing his job and just listening in the background, and then, just kind of planted a little seed. And
he'd edited hundreds upon hundreds of hours of me going, it's sobriety, brilliant, and Freddie saying it's great, it's life-changing, and bang, 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 keep going on. And originally he was only going to do 3 months, and he's like, right, Shaz, you've got in my ear, I'm just going to do 3 months. And that was 5 years ago. 5 years in summer this year is when Ben last had a drink. And you'll hear it on the podcast himself. He didn't describe himself as alcoholic or a daily drinker. But he said, his drinking became problematic because it began to cause problems. And he was, a self-confessed weekend binge drinker. And knocked it on the head, and like me, had no intention whatsoever of stopping. Going to be a break. But Ben's a data man. So he had the 3 months. Okay, this is better. Went to 6, did 9, got to 12. And he went, on day 366, I assessed my year's worth of data. And I much prefer sober Ben to drinking Ben. And if he hears this, he'll be laughing because I just take the rip out of him all the time. And why not? So he assessed the data, as he calls it, and decided that life was so much better for him without him in it. And he's gone on to do amazing things and continues to do so. And the creation of the podcast and the Over the Influence community, we're just so proud of it. And doing it together 5 years down the line, it's brilliant. It's really good.
It's amazing. 5 years. That's incredible. Yeah, I know that Freddie's been doing some cool stuff too. He's got a new thing set up with. I've seen a couple of his posts, and he's running ultra marathons and all that kind of jazz, and just gallivanting through New Zealand, just running with his kids and stuff. That's
amazing.
Pretty
good luck
cool.
to him.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. Okay, so changing things up. So obviously sobriety is brilliant, as we all know. But what do you think you found the hardest about giving up?
Initially, it was, I suppose, socialising and going out. And I come back to the thing that I thought, life was going to be dull and it was going to be boring and nobody did anything in sobriety. One of the hardest things I found as well, which has now become one of the best things, and this is another example of it all changes, how you feel today about not drinking. If you're in the early days, you're not going to feel like this further down the line. Everything changes. When the sun first came out in the UK, and Abby, we don't get sun a lot, it's the UK. So I stopped drinking in September, and the sun came out, and it was about April, May. So September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So it was about 6-7 months in, something like that. And I cried. I was like, and it came from nowhere. I was not drinking, and I was successfully not drinking. And the sun came out, and I thought, hellfire, what do you do? What do you do? I'm not going to go to a beer garden. Oh, do I sit in my own garden? I don't know what to do. And it was like my huge association with day drinking was when the sun came out. Anyway, I really struggled with that for a couple of years. It didn't tip me over the edge that much that I was, I'm going to have a drink because the sun's out. I went to the supermarket. I got some alcohol-free alternatives because they worked for me. They were absolutely fantastic. And now when the sun comes out, excuse me, we've had this mini heat wave. It's like, it just feels incredible not to be drinking in the sunshine because there's so much other stuff to do. One of them being, you can get your washing on the line nice and early for it to dry. This is where my life's at now. You can drive to the coast, you can drive to the countryside, you can go out for a picnic. There's 1,000,001 things you can do in the sunshine now that doesn't involve drink. And had you told me that 6 years ago, when I was still struggling with that as a massive trigger, and I go, no, it's awful. You're just drinking the sunshine, rosé wine. It turns out it's actually not true. It's not true. So I really struggled with that. But anything that I had an issue with, that I found hard in the early days, again, it just all changes. You become stronger for every day you don't drink. You get so much better at it.
Yeah. It's that day drinking is definitely was definitely a trigger for me as well. I know that we've just had a really, really long summer here, and I live near the coast now, and I just go for walks now whenever if ever I get any triggers. What do you do? Do you get triggers now, or
no.
are you? Nah.
No, absolutely not at all. No, and I've just done a really nice beach holiday with the girls, which was absolutely incredible. We're all of a certain age now, so it was another 50th celebration. And they drink, but because I don't drink now, it highlights how much I did drink and actually how little they drink. This group of friends, and actually they're in the front of my book, it's dedicated to them, Anna, Shani and Jeanette, and my family, of course. They've been my biggest cheerleaders, and we can go on holiday and we can have, weekends away. And if they want a gin and tonic or a glass of wine, I'll go and buy it them. I'm like, I literally couldn't care less. So we've just done this really nice beach holiday where there was, rum and cocktails and anything you could have wanted. And it didn't cross my mind. I didn't for 1 second think, oh, this would be better if. I just knew this was the best it was going to be because that I'm not drinking. And actually, I think I must have done the heading because I was like, girls, we've got an itinerary. I'll have you all up early, please. The hire car is here. I'll be your driver for the week. And it was ace. And they're like, oh, God almighty, Shaz, you're still a dick. You might not be drunk, but you're still a dick. So, yeah, it's got its benefits. They had a chauffeur for the week.
Yeah, well, that's good too, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. I sort of said I did a 5 tips for getting and staying sober as my first episode, and I said don't ever, one of the things about sort of if you're a social drinker, you know, just try and hermit yourself for a little bit, hibernate, but don't ever offer to be the sober driver because all of your mates will want to be partying until gone midnight, and you'll just be sitting there in the corner, just arms folded, just like, oh, this kind of sucks.
Yeah, but you get more confident with it, and further down the line, you'll be like, yeah, I'll be your sober driver. That's not a problem. However, I am leaving at 10 o'clock latest. If you're not in the car, see you suckers. You're getting a taxi, you know.
Yeah, that's right. You got to have your boundaries, I suppose. What do you think? Have you got sort of like 2 or 3 kind of little nuggets of pearls of wisdom that you would give somebody that was in those early days struggling, thinking that they're never going to get there, kind of 2 steps forward, 5 steps back? What would you say? I mean, obviously we tell them just to keep going, but
it's not that easy sometimes, is it?
No, it's not. Yeah, when you're beating yourself up, it's pretty hard, isn't it? But what would you say to people just to kind of get them to keep going?
3 things. So nail down why you're doing it. You know, what impact is alcohol having on your life? And I'm not talking right down the quantities, you know, it's how it's making you feel, and it's the impact on you and your family. So remind yourself why on earth you are doing this. No is a complete sentence. So if in the early days you're pressured to just have one, just to go out, oh come on, you're boring, oh for God's sake, I got a lot of stick, and it's like, no thank you, please, I'm just doing this for the time being. You know, caveat with that, just say I'm doing a challenge, a personal challenge, or I've joined a group, or I'm doing, I don't know, some Macmillan fundraising, and whatever it is, say, you know, no, that's it, end of sentence, no thank you. And this is a hard one, but I think it's really important, is, can I swear just a little bit? Sure. Don't give a shit what people think about what you're doing. Just don't care. I know it's hard, and when you've been, you know, maybe at the centre of your social group, and you're the one to step back and go, I'm going to make a change. You know, people, you know, chances are some people may have something to say. It's nobody's business. And like, if you feel, I've got a 4th one as well. Fine. Sort of linked. Don't care what people think. You're doing this for you. But that doesn't mean to say you've got to like completely isolate yourself. Confide in people. If you've got a close friend or a family member, whoever it might be, you know, if you're worried, talk to somebody about it. Start those conversations. And my 4th thing, which I think is key, 1,000,000% key, connection. Like, connect with people like you. And that isn't me going, Jane Over the Influence, it's the best place in the world. It might be OTI, it might be another online community, it might be AA, it might be, I don't know, a local sober group doing sober stuff. You know, a lot of time you go along to these groups and you're not even talking about, well, how much did you used to drink, how bad did it get? It's like, oh, what we're doing next weekend? Painting, paddleboarding, pottery, I don't flipping know, something else begin with a P. Connection. So why are you doing it? It's okay to say no. What was the other thing? Don't give a hoot what people think, and connection. So there's 4. I could go on forever, but I think in the early days, those things are really, really important. And just know that the magic is within yourself. Like, seriously, give yourself a chance. Just give yourself a chance. And everything that you possibly dreamed of is on the other side of alcohol.
Very cool. Very cool. Is your book out now?
You mean this one that I keep here?
Yeah, published author Sharon Hartley.
It is. It's out now. In New Zealand, did you get Amazon or is it Big Ape or something like that? What's it? Mighty Ape. Mighty Ape.
Yeah.
That's it, not
Yeah.
Big Ape. I knew it was monkey related. Yeah, it's on the big retailers, but obviously, if depending on where in the world you're listening to this, all for supporting, local independent bookshops. So go in and you can order it there. The life-changing magic of quitting alcohol. Yeah, amazing.
So good, so good. Who'd have thought, eh? Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thunk it?
Amazing, amazing. Sharon, it's been really, really cool. So obviously, quite a few places to find you. So can you just give us, your contact details? Obviously, I put them in the show notes as well.
Yeah, no problem at all. So if you want further information about the community, we are online. If you just look up overtheinfluence.co.uk, we're on Facebook and Instagram, but that's just our social pages. We don't have groups on there or anything. It's our sober social network is away from those platforms. It's completely separate. And if you want to find us on there, it's just at Alcohol Free Pod on both Facebook and Instagram. But again, if you just stick in Over the Influence, I think mine or Ben's face will come up in the orange logo. So yeah, you're more than welcome to get in touch and reach out, as they say.
Reach out. Yeah, no, it's been very, very cool talking to you, Shaz.
It's nice, Abby. Thank you. I've so enjoyed it, and it's so amazing to see how well you're doing as well. And thank you for the opportunity to come and talk on your podcast.
No, thank you very much for agreeing too. So I'll just finish off. So thank you all for listening, and if you have enjoyed today's episode or any of the previous episodes, then feel free to share it to somebody that you might think could benefit from listening. Make a comment, leave me a review, do whatever you need to do. I'll leave all of my contact details and Sharon's contact details in the show notes. I use Riverside FM for my software, and I also use Buzzsprout just to distribute the episodes to all the different podcast streaming services. Details of those are on the show notes as well. Next week we will have another short and sharp tips and tricks episode just with me, and then obviously another guest the following week. So please keep listening. I'm really enjoying this at the moment. So got a few more guests lined up. So Sharon, thank you so much, and you'll hear me next week.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Abby. Have a lovely day.
Take care. Bye.